Now for the Steelers, look, Anthony, I'm going to throw this out there. I think that they go Jackson Dart here. I think this is the perfect spot for Jackson Dart to go off the board. The Steelers are still rolling with Mason Rudolph as
Yikes.
their starting quarterback. As of right now, Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed anywhere yet. I saw a thing yesterday on Reddit saying that Aaron Rodgers signed with them. April Fools, he did not. So I like Jackson Dart here for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think this is definitely a good landing spot for Jackson Dart, but I also think it's a great landing spot for Omarion Hampton. They have Jalen
Yeah.
Warren. But listen, I mean, Najee Harris is the last running back they took in the first round. It didn't really work out too well for them. I guess the question is whether or not they think Jackson Dart's better than Mason Rudolph. I mean, this team has kept Mason Rudolph around for a while. I know he went to Tennessee for a cup of tea for a little bit. But then they bring him right back to be their only quarterback on the roster. They let Kenny Pickett. They trade Kenny Pickett over to the Browns, or let him walk to the Browns. I forget what the situation was there.
Yeah. Anthony, hold on. They got Skylar Thompson.
No, they don't. Nobody cares. Nobody
That's
cares
it.
about that.
That's it. They're done. Future Hall of Famer.
Listen, they're set at wide receiver. I think they've set this team up for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they traded for DK Metcalf. They got George Pickens there. They got Freiermuth. They need a running back in a desperate way. I could realistically see this being Omarion Hampton, and then just punting quarterback to the second round. Jackson Dart, I hear is a first rounder, and maybe he will get pushed up the board because of the lack of quarterback talent in this draft. And we already think Tyler Shuck is going to get pushed up the board for the same reasons. I do think it's very hard for them to pass on Hampton here, though.
You know what? I like the case that you made for them. My only problem is, if any of us know what's going through Aaron Rodgers' head right now, you're lying. Like, if any of us say we know, we don't know. We don't know what Aaron Rodgers is thinking. But I think ultimately you're probably right. Aaron Rodgers comes and plays with the Pittsburgh Steelers this season, which means Omarion Hampton should be the pick. I agree with you, Anthony. I think we should go with Omarion Hampton.
I know I have no skin in this specific pick, but I could not disagree more. I don't think you risk it with Aaron Rodgers. And when he was on the field, look at what he did. He did absolutely jack shit. So I think you can't risk going in with Piggly Wiggly's employee of the month and Skylar Thompson and and Rudolph at quarterback. You have to take Dart if I was picking here, that would be my pick. I'm not. Yeah. I'm sorry. I couldn't keep it shut for too long, fellas. You know me. There, I'm done. I'm good for another 5 picks.
Also, Rodgers, I think, taking the Dolphins fan out of it, did not play well with the Jets. He didn't play like Peyton Manning level at the end of his career bad. There's still something in the tank as a player for Aaron Rodgers. But still, even considering if he's a good quarterback and can lead the Steelers to a playoff win or a run, he's still in his 40s. Like, he's not the 5-year plan. So.
No, but the Steelers have typically punted on quarterback until the next year, and what shakes loose next season.
I mean, the last 4 years they've punted.
Yeah, they took Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett didn't work out, and they just kind of, hey, Russell Wilson's available. Let's go get him and sign him for $2 million and see what he can do for us. He leads into the playoffs.
I mean, to Josh's point, is there a very good chance they take Jackson Dart here? Yes, right? Yeah. They're probably greater than 50% chance. It's probably the highest percentile of all the picks that they have options here. But would I be surprised if they say, no, I'll take the running back, or I'll take the tight end, or I'll take Malachi Starks because they just take the best talent that's on the board? No, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. For the sake of this, I say go with Dart. That's the expected outcome here.
Okay.
But
Jackson Dart is the pick for the Steelers then.
I don't think it's set in stone. Just to say that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Anthony.
Well, I'm trying to rush this, though, but I think very similarly to the Colts, this is probably the most boring place to select a pick because it's been the same person since the beginning, right?
Really?
I genuinely think this is where Colson Loveland gets drafted. I think this is where he belongs. This is what, Justin Herbert's, the entire offense needed a field stretcher at tight end, right? And what is Loveland? He is a giant wide receiver that plays tight end, right? I mean, that's what he is. I've seen mocks for months that just It's just a plug and play and keep moving. You know what I mean? You can
I
make
don't hate it.
Right. You can say, well, Ted McMillan's still there. That wasn't supposed to happen. You can say they need defensive tackle help. I just think what's on the board. I mean, maybe Ted McMillan is a better rated prospect, but man, the having a separator at the tight end position that is a difference maker, who I believe he's a difference maker. I don't think he's a top 5 tight end, right? But he's a difference maker at the tight end position, changes an offense.
So I'm not sure there's a team that the draft's fallen better for them than the Chargers, considering the way this went. Because on my list of like what would be the best thing for the Chargers, Amari Hampton, Colston Loveland, or the top wide receiver available. And you have Ted McMillan sitting right there. Like
you have
what
all three.
a embarrassment of riches right here. So I don't hate the Loveland pick, but man, Amari Hampton still being there, I didn't think he would get past the Steelers. And Ted McMillan being there as well.
And here's my counter to both of those positions. Those positions are deep. Running back is deep. Wide receiver is deep. Tight end after Loveland, it's nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah, you do get Mason Taylor and Arroyo and Harold Fannin.
Sure, if you say so.
In the second and third.
If you say so, right? But I mean, you're telling me that they're anywhere close to Loveland? They're not, right? But you go ahead, Keith. Go to the wide receivers real quick, just for shits and giggles. And we're going to do the same thing with the running backs really quick, right? So you have Ibuka, you have Luther Burden, you have Illuminor, you got Trey Harris, you got Betch. I mean, you got Higgins, you got there's a plethora, to use a big giant word of the day, of talent at wide receiver. You have Hampton, Travian Henderson, you got both Ohio State running backs for that matter. You have Scatabo still available. You have Giddens from K-State. I mean, there's just but you go to tight end, and that's it. Because I'm
pure volume. While the wide receiver position, I would argue it's deep, but it's also because of the wide receiver position that there will be good players there. Yeah, man, I don't hate the Loveland pick. I was just suggesting hey, we do have Ted McMillan here. We do have Amari Hampton. I think it is a worthy conversation.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm fine with Loveland here.
Okay. All right. So Colston Loveland is the pick to the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'll tell you, the Vikings, depending on what Green Bay does, is about to do a backflip.
So as far as the Packers go, Anthony, there's a player that I've had mocked to them for a while now. I think he's perfect for them. It's Nick Emmanwori. I think he fits what the Packers want to do defensively. He fits that Green Bay, cold weather, frozen tundra mentality. I think Emmanwori is a perfect pick for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I was going to say they run to the podium with the Malachi Starks pick, but yeah, sure, Emmanwori too. I mean, I think it's 1A, 1B there. This is an embarrassment of riches, similar to Josh saying, like the Vikings are probably pretty happy. I think the Packers are really happy. Ted McMillan is still there if they want to take another shot on a wide receiver because their guys have been glass cannons who are mostly glass. I think they're taking a look at Revel Jr., the corner there, who I think could end up being a first-round pick after all is said and done. They desperately need a corner. But yeah, I think, to have Tet there, to have both safeties there to choose from, to have first-round potential corners there, it's just crazy how the draft played out for the Packers. But Nick Emmanwori would be a really solid selection there.
So you go with Emmanwori here, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, this dude's what? He's 6'3", ran a what? I mean, he's so crazy.
Yeah, he's 6'3", he ran a 4.38 or a 4.42 or something. I mean, something ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
The athleticism there is nuts. Yeah.
Nick Emmanwori to the Packers.
And I think I'm not going to speak for you, Taylor. So obviously there is a conversation to be had, but I think they are running for Malachi Starks.
I do think there's a conversation to be had, mainly because this
hit me.
I did have him. Emmanwori, I think, is I really want him to go to the Vikings. I think that is a perfect fit as well. So that's hilarious.
So can you undo the pick, please?
Can you go ahead and undo that?
Yeah, and just take Malachi
Starks
because nobody cares about Green Bay.
I do like that fit for the Vikings as well.
Yeah.
But also, man, wide receiver, Ted McMillan. I know they got Justin Jefferson. I know they got Addison. But this is one of those situations where the talent that's sitting there and you're just going, okay, sure, I'll take this player.
I don't know. This is between Revel or Starks for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think to your point, they have Pro Bowl level players at their wide receiver and at their wide receiver one position. You can argue that a borderline Pro Bowler potential in wide receiver two, you don't take that. In my opinion, you can have the discussion about Tet, but I just don't see. I don't see how a team could do that, right?
When the Vikings, I think, can because they kind of seem set across the board. But that
not at cornerback and safety, they don't.
Yeah, I was going to say at safety in particular, you could use for one Harrison Smith's heir apparent 100%, or at least somebody to be in that room and learn from him and possibly take that other center field position, which I think Malachi Starks will crush as well.
Yeah,
as that Harrison Smith role. So I'm not upset with Starks either. But
do you think there's a conversation between Starks and Revel, or do you think Starks is head and shoulders above Revel?
For this team, I think it's Starks.
Yeah, all right.
Or,
Starks is
like
the
I
pick.
was saying, T-Mac.
All right, Malachi Starks to the Vikings.
And the fact that they're getting a player that I would have been thrilled with at 13 is awesome for them.
All right, so now we're on to the Texans here, Anthony.
Yeah. This is easy.
What's that?
This is easy.
Tell me.
They're running up with Josh Simmons on that card, bro. I mean, they got Cam Robinson and Trent Brown starting a tackle.
Yeah.
This is a top 5 talent that falls all the way to 25. I don't think if this happened, the Houston Texans draft room would be a freaking party.
I
mean,
agree.
Listen, I had Gray Zabel and Connerly Jr. as the guys I would put here, but because I didn't expect Josh Simmons to fall this far. So if he did, I absolutely think that this would be the fastest pick made in round 1.
Yeah, I agree. They lost Laramie Tunsil this offseason. They're light on the offensive line. They need a guy like Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons is the pick.
Interestingly, I see like wide receiver on their needs list, and they picked up Christian Kirk. They got Nico Collins. They got Tank Dell. I thought that was an interesting assessment there by both NFL Network and ESPN. Both have wide receiver on the needs list. So interesting.
Yeah, I think just because Tank Dell went down with that injury late in the season last year, he's probably not going to be back till at least midway through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they put him up there as a need. Yeah. But
I mean, there's probably serious conversations there around Ted McMillan if he's still there, and around Amari and Hampton if he's still there. They got Joe Mixon, but I mean, he's not getting any younger. But I absolutely think Josh Simmons is the pick.
Yeah, I agree. So we're on to the LA Rams.
Taylor, you want to kick us off, or you want me to?
I have Revel or Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker from UCLA, as 2 of my top picks. Again, did not expect. I don't mean to keep saying it, but Ted McMillan is here, and I feel like every time until he's picked, it should be like, well, should we do it?
Well, you know what's going to happen. He's going to go to Washington or Kansas City, right? That's just our luck. And they're going to get a Pro Bowl wide receiver for no reason.
I know we're running low on time. I just want to quickly kind of go through the McMillan thing. He's not a perfect prospect either. While I think he's going to be an easy day 1 pick, he'll be picked before this. It's not like he was top 5, perfect prospect, and he somehow fell out like he has right here. So this isn't the craziest thing in the world to me.
Not at all. Can you go to linebacker, Keith? Because I think that's really where they go, right? And I think Barrett Carter from Clemson is also a linebacker option here.
Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina.
I think Schlesinger has to be the pick, but I think I think an inside linebacker is the discussion, right? It's just who, Demetrius Knight or Schlesinger. He's on my man crush of the offseason, right? He's kind of one of my studs. I love the way he plays football. Schlesinger would be my choice here for LA. And also, don't forget Revel's still available at cornerback, and they need cornerback help too, right? So
I don't think we have time for trades, but this would be where I'm like, hey, anybody want to trade up to get T-Mac right now, and then the Rams will take whoever's left at the end of the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
know,
So
I
you
know
have
I'm
a. Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead.
I know I'm not part of your guys' team here, but there's a huge conversation out there about how the Rams just don't invest in the linebacker position. So I agree with Taylor. Like, more likely option is they trade out of this spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look. They have a need at cornerback, and they have a need at linebacker. You look at the players that are available for each position. Schlesinger would be my pick, but there are two better prospects available at the cornerback position that are ranked higher. It's just a matter of who you want, right? And I will leave the decision up to you.
I'll go with Siobhan Revel here.
Okay.
He's just too high up on my board. Too great of a tackler.
Okay. So Siobhan Revel to the Rams.
Perfect.
So the Ravens, I think this is where Ted McMillan's fall ends here, Anthony. The Ravens are a team that
Of course they get him.
they've got a lot of talent all over the place. One thing they've lacked since Lamar Jackson's come into the league has been a number one alpha wide receiver. And I think Ted McMillan would be perfect for them.
Yeah, I mean, they did pick up DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. They got Zay Flowers. They got Rashad Bateman, who has seemingly fallen out of favor very quickly over there. So I could definitely see Tet being the pick. If they decided to go a different route, I think it's the trenches. That's just a Ravens move right there.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon on defense, Gray Zabel on offense for sure. But if Tet's there, I think it would be hard to pass up. I would say Tet McMillan would be a Raven here.
All right. Ted McMillan to the Ravens. On the clock is the Lions.
I mean, edge rusher for me, right?
Yeah,
and I
edge
think
rusher and pen, crayon, whatever you want to say.
Yep, I think Pierce Jr. is the pick here, in my opinion. I mean, can you go to edge? Can you go to edge and just see who's available? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Scorton, Izaraku,
Yep.
Tiamalo, Mikael Williams,
Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State, right? I think he is like a perfect Man Campbell kind of player, right? I don't know. I kind of like that pick better than James Pierce. I just find it hard that James Pierce is still on the board and we're talking about taking Jack Sawyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It has to, in my opinion, it's definitely an edge to your point. So I think personally it's between Pierce Jr. and Jack Sawyer. I think Pierce has the higher ceiling. Jack Sawyer has the higher floor, right?
Yeah.
So
I have Izaraku as the next guy up for me. Unfortunately, I have Pierce and Sawyer's very low compared to Izaraku. So if you want to go Pierce Jr., I think he's the one I feel better about out of the two. But
you guys
I
tell
also
me.
think Izaraku fits as well in that Campbell system. I really do.
He really does. He really does. Yeah, okay. That's good. Let's go with that. Izaraku.
Okay.
Boy, what a tumble for Pierce. Holy crap.
Yeah. This is pretty crazy.
Maybe the Eagles will get James Pierce. Of course he will. Never mind.
So what do you think about here for the Commanders here, Anthony?
Yeah, so I have corner, wide receiver, offensive line, edge, and potentially running back on the list of needs for them. Depends how you feel about Brian Robinson Jr. I think Austin Eckler is just kind of a stopgap, but I wouldn't even mention it if Omarion Hampton wasn't there right now, sitting on the board. That's got to be super tempting. If we look at corners, Siobhan Revel just got taken 3 picks before, so they're probably pretty bummed about that. Wide receiver, Ted McMillan just went. So it's like, dang, I'm sure they were hoping, oh man, come on. But I do think there's, I think Gray Zabel's in serious contention here. You got to protect Jaden Daniel. They traded for Laramie Tunsil. They've shown that they want to get that offensive line shored up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them continue to do that here in the first round, even though I do think wide receiver is a huge need and Luther Burden is sitting there. So I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I think edge is probably their biggest need. And James Pierce, I think, has fallen far enough. I think the Commanders are going to run to the podium to snap him up.
Yep, they did lose Fowler Jr. 10.5 sacks last year. So that does make sense. Yep.
So you go with James Pierce here, Anthony?
Yeah, well, they have a surprising number of needs for a team picking at 29.
Yeah, well, I think they overplayed their talent
Dan,
level a lot last year.
Dan
They
Quinn, attaboy, right? Like, geez.
yeah,
Yeah, no
they
kidding.
might come crashing back down to earth next season. But for now, I think James Pierce is the pick. So we're gonna go with James Pierce. The Bills are on the clock.
Taylor,
Josh, I
you're up.
made the final call on these last two. I want you to take this one, man.
All right, can you go to cornerback for me, please? Because that is, for me, they're kind of Achilles heel right now. And the fact
that is
that
one of the reasons why.
yeah, and the fact that Harrison is still available, it's between him. For me, it's between Maxwell Harrison from Kentucky or defensive tackle, right? So if you could go to the D tackles for me, please, I think that's probably where I'm leaning. And the fact that Walter Nolan is still here, and Derek Harmon is still here, I feel like I'm leaning towards Walter Nolan Buffalo Bills pairing, which makes me nauseous as a Dolphins fan. But I'd love to hear your take.
Nolan, I do like. I have Harmon rated a little bit higher, but either player I think fits very well. Hairston as well is somebody who is blazing fast. I think he had the 4.240.
Yep,
at the
he's
combine
lean,
everybody was talking
athletic.
about.
He's like speed
Yeah.
incarnate, right?
If Siobhan Revel's here, they are running
Oh,
to the
for
podiums.
sure.
They're good
Yeah.
to go. Like that, or somehow, some way, Barron falls this far, they'd be running. Even considering Barron's more of a nickel corner. So, yeah, man, I'm good with whoever you end up going.
Walter Nolan.
It's interesting.
Walter
I'll say
Nolan.
that.
Yeah,
Walter Nolan.
I'm just
Yeah,
I really do like him. I do.
That pick would make me so mad if he's available for the Bills. All right, our last pick of the first round here, Anthony, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
I want to be cheeky and take somebody like Hampton or Burden or something like that, but I think their immediate reaction is going to be what happened to them at the Super Bowl can't happen again. They trade away Joe Tooney this offseason. I think Gray Zabel right here, without a doubt, if he's there, that's their pick.
I could not possibly agree with you more here, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Gray Zabel is absolutely the pick.
Isn't that disgusting how they just keep getting rock star talent? It's infuriating.
Yeah. All right. So the last pick of the first round is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Omari and Hampton. No, I'm kidding.
Who's the best?
Last year, I would say,
Michael
yep.
Williams. Best Georgia player.
Can you scroll all the way down to whoever the last player available is? That's who I think the Eagle. I'm kidding. Don't really do it.
Take forever to get there.
All right. Let's talk about it. What do you think?
That is Michael Williams. I know I said it as a joke, but it fits. Georgia player that needs some edge help. He'll help in the run game as well, at the very least. Has elite traits.
I think he's gone a while ago, dude.
Yeah, he's been gone.
Was he?
Yeah.
God, damn. Yep, I see him here. Who's left at edge?
Jack Sawyer, Princely.
That dude's name is Princely. What better? The fresh Princely of Bel Air. Come on.
Oh, God.
That's the wrong town, but he was
in
from
Philadelphia.
Jokes
born and
write
raised.
themselves.
Yeah. I'm sure he
Not
spent
sure
most
you
of
like
his
her.
time on the playground. I like cornerback here. I like edge rusher here. I like Sawyer, right? Go to hit up the cornerbacks. My guy from Kentucky's still here. There we go. Yeah. Maxwell Harrison. I'm a huge fan of him. Guard Gray Zabel was going to be my bang the table pick for them. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think, and they need safety. Who's available for safety? I don't think anyone worth the 32nd pick.
Donovan Jackson may or may not be available right now.
Donovan Jackson's available.
Okay. I think it's between Donovan Jackson or Hairston, like you were saying.
All right, who do you like better between the two? Well, they also need D-line.
Eagles building.
The fact that Harmon is still there is pretty cool too for them.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a good pick for the Eagles. They're gonna find some way to find a great player. I kind of like Harmon here, man.
Me
I
too.
like that fit.
Secretly, I was like, I don't want to give them Harmon, but I feel like that's who they would pick. So
Yeah.
that's who I would pick as them personally. I think he's
But
the
don't worry, they'll find a way to fix their problems in the second and third round too.
Yeah, they
So-
always do. All right, Harmon it is.
Okay, even though he's not from Georgia, Derek Harmon is going to the Philadelphia Eagles.